You aren't middle class. Working class. These are the people whose main source of income is a salary. Be they doctors, janitors, or software engineers. You can own stock and get dividends from it. You can own a second or third house that you rent out. You can own your own small business. It doesn't matter. If you can't put food on the table without a job, you're working class. Owner class. These are the big investors, big landlords, corporate CEOs, and so on. Sure, some of them technically have a job, managing properties or running a company. But if the majority of their income, let's say 70%, comes from rents or investments or company bonuses, then they are owning class. The reason this distinction is important is because it separates people based on their interests. Workers want higher wages, so they can have more money. Owners want lower wages, so then products can be made cheaper, resulting in higher profit margins. Workers want lower costs of living, so their money can buy more things. Owners want higher costs of living, as higher rents and product prices lead to higher profits. By understanding this divide, we can better understand our position and the position of the people opposed to us, opposed to workers' interests. The reason I'm asking you to stop thinking in terms of lower, middle, higher class is because this is a tool used by the owner class to confuse and divide us. You can have higher class working people, software engineers and doctors, and you can have middle class owning people, a landlord with only 3 houses. As a result, by seeing the world as lower, middle, higher class, you are discouraged from working together with your lower class and higher class colleagues and are unable to see who's actually screwing you over. It's similar to how they are trying to divide us among racial lines, or religious lines, or by age. Whites vs Mexicans, Christians vs Muslims, straights vs LGBTQ, and so on. They are trying to convince you that your interests are the same as the owner class, in order to stop you from going against them. You and Jeff Bezos are both Americans, so stop fighting among yourselves. You and Elon Musk are both straight men, so your interests are the same. You and Trump are both Christian, so you should support one another. It's a tool, nothing more. And with it, the owning class has maintained and grew its power exponentially. So I encourage you to unite with your fellow workers and put an end to this nonsense. The more people understand this basic distinction, the better chance we have at addressing the issues that plague us. First step is identifying and acknowledging the problem. The majority of this post must be credited to fellow Redditor U. Christiander. Absolutely true. We only have 2 social classes in the US. Working class and owner class. A sad note along those lines. We have less social mobility, the ability to move between classes, in the US than people do in England. Let that sink in for a moment. For all our rhetoric about independence and freedom, and went to war against Britain to win our freedom, they're better off in this regard than we are. Renting out property is definitely owner class. One can be a hybrid of both. But renterism, by which I mean extracting profit from something that one owns but does not use, is at the core of capitalist exploitation. Okay, after many comments and arguments in the threads here and on other postings, it seems that just saying owners or workers is not enough. People don't understand the difference. So here is an attempt at explaining the difference. If you have wealth, meaning you own things that generate enough income, so you do not have to actually do any work, you are ownership class. If you have to work, no matter what that work is, you are working class. How much you get paid does not matter. If you can lose your job and lose your income, you are working class. Owners can only lose their income if the wealth they own changes value. Edit. Own a diamond mine. You are ownership class. Mine runs out of diamonds. You already noticed that was the trend and transferred your wealth elsewhere. On a similar note, I'm convinced the divide between the two major political parties is also a decoy to make us fight each other and distract from the fact that, at the end of the day, both parties are run by the uber-wealthy lobbyists. Just a fancier word for bribery emo. Okay, we know. Working class and owning class. But be wary of this, we all gotta come together regardless speeches because often it's tash-fash. Trying to weasel in. No solidarity with fascist. No solidarity with bigots. We had this conversation in 5th, 6th grade. Everyone called themselves middle class. We're in a Title IV school, maybe even school district, where most everyone is farm kids. Dad is either in the field, a trucker, or locked up. Mom is a cleaner, or locked up, and our claim to fame is STIs, dropout rates and teen pregnancies. People need a better understanding of what classes are, possibility of moving between them, and how to work within them, and be realistic. I slightly disagree. Many of these people could put food on the table without working, but choose to have lavish lifestyles. Heck, if you can retire, you've made it out of the working class. All these people are gonna be able to retire. I would respectfully beg to differ. The salaried people with 3 homes and stock portfolios are PMCs. Professional managerial class, which is a separate and distinct class from the workers. Not saying you haven't made a lot of solid points, but there is absolutely more than 2 classes within our current LSC framework. And the PMCs serve a very distinct role. https en.wikipedia.org/wiki/professional%E2% 80% 93 managerial class. It would be true if everyone understood the lack of distinction and the need to unite to effect meaningful change. I just don't think it will happen. We're all serfs, and the sooner we realize that, the better off we'll be. This is so much nonsense. What if I told you that a person can work and still be middle class? I'm not actually sure I would accomplish middle class without a job. Working rich is the ticket for me. What's middle class? What? When did I get pitted against Mexicans? I got no beef with them. I saw that YouTube video. I couldn't stop laughing after. You can own stock and get dividends from it, like it's a thing that happens to millennials. Owners want higher costs of living, as higher rents and product prices lead to higher profits. This is wrong. Owners want lower cost of living so you can have more disposable income to spend on consumerism. You think any of the media companies, consumer product companies, appliance manufacturers, packaged food companies, car manufacturers, clothing retailers want higher cost of living? You think rental companies want you to have less money for them to gobble up with higher rents? You think mortgage lenders who need you to have money for a down payment want a higher cost of living? No. They want you to spend more with them, which means they need a lower cost of living. Sure, there are going to be other industries that benefit from higher call. But point is that it's not uniform. And your analysis is just childish gibberish. Feel free to downvote me into oblivion. But this post-it moronic. Middle class rose out of the working class because they were people in skilled jobs and management. It was when there was a hierarchy in the quality of life and the type of work you did. White collar and blue collar, for example, there was a divide, and I don't think you can say both were just working class. On top of that, the US and largely the world makes it a point to divide us in everything. I call it the demographic pie because it's always some sort of pie chart that does nothing but tell us why we should dislike one group or other. Flip on the news and you'll see how the story breaks us up by race, sex, creed, and so forth to point out we are different. When you lump doctors and lawyers onto your us versus them rhetoric, then you've blurred the lines. You can't expect someone who is upper or even middle class to readily want to tear it down. People who have it pretty well don't want to rock the boat. They may signal virtue, but you see enough of that from corporate America. Come Gay Pride Month, they practically vomit rainbows out their ass. But do they really care, or is it another marketing stunt? The thing is, there will always be something we will want to change. If you have it good, you find yourself asking if you want it enough to upset what you have here and now. Stop pretending that the upper and middle class are the same as the lower class, because in terms of wanting change, the higher you go on the totem pole, the less likely you are to actually want change. At the end of the day, the post reads like it was written around the time of the Russian Revolution, when you were a peasant or a lord. In 2022 the world has shifted and there is a lot more gray. Sure, there are the obscenely wealthy and the destitute. The lines have shifted since then and the hierarchy of life is broader, I guess you could say. This is because there is a broader definition of classes. There is a upper, middle, lower class, like it or not.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.